is Al Cigarette Lighter on the phone right now from the Yes Network?
That's right.
That was your Berman nickname, right, Al?
You remember that? Yes.
Come on.
Cigarette. And then I remember my mom used to say, why does he call you Cigarette? So then we kind of collaborated, Chris. I don't know whether he really listened to me or not. And
Right.
then we got to Bud Lighter and Butane. So yeah, I don't know. My mom was like worried about cigarette, and then we went to Bud Lighter.
Yeah, we went to alcohol and butane. I don't know how that's an upgrade.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's fantastic. Al Leiter of the Yes Network, two-time NL All-Star and three-time World Series winner, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Zack Greinke is doing ridiculous stuff right now from the mound out here in Southern California. Al, what are your thoughts on what you're hearing about Zack and seeing?
Wow, historic. You are right about that, Rich. And, when you look at what he's done, and I think mostly because of his personality and a guy that just chooses not to be, the star celebrity, Madison Avenue type. But that ERA of 1.39 under 1.4, historically going back to World War II, there's only been three other guys under 1.4, and they all happened in 1968 with the historic year of Bob Gibson, Louis Tiant, and, of course, Don Drysdale. I mean, that's the type of numbers we're talking about over, how many years now? What I think what I'm impressed with what Greinke has been able to do, and I appreciate it because here's a guy that had the great arm coming on the scene in 04. He wins a Cy Young in 09 with Kansas City, and had the greater velocity and all the stuff ad nauseum that we do, detailed analysis as to why guys are good or bad. And now, you tell me, but watching his games, he was a fastball, slider, curveball, changeup pitcher and trying to find his way, in my opinion, to now he's a fastball, changeup, slider guy. And he's now incorporated a vital pitch that really makes it look like this guy really knows how to pitch. He knows how to offset hitters. It's not just here it is, hit it with two fastballs in the mid to upper 90s and then throw a slider anymore. Rich, I'll tell you what, so impressive. I don't know how it plays out with Boch, but he's going to be rested to start the All-Star game, and so deserving because he has been almost perfect.
Yeah, and Max Scherzer almost Johnny Vandermeered a couple of weeks ago, too. So this is sort of, you see what's happening in baseball, sort of a resurgence of pitching and less of the home run ball. What do you attribute this to, Al?
Good question. I think, we're finally getting past to where I don't have to start the question or the answer with, PED, harder, stricter testing, because that has now been implemented for several years. But I just think that the arms are better. I really do. I think if you could trace it back in youth baseball, I think kids are throwing harder. I think the premise behind travel baseball, it's really about a showcase. It's about showing off, who throws what. Parents know that if your kid could throw at least 90, you got a D1 opportunity. You have these throwing programs that are year round kids are now. I don't know. When you watch a game, I have to be honest. I work at MLB Network. I do a handful of games for the Yes Network and the Yankees. I literally see Major League Baseball littered with guys that I barely know their names, let alone do like some analysis on what they are and what they do. And you got more guys throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. That was a special arm back in the day, and now you compound it with these pitch counts and all of the protection of the assets for general managers and owners to protect guys. They don't throw as many pitches. Pitchers identify that with, kind of empty the tank. I had a game the other day, Nathan Eovaldi had 84 pitches and they took him out. I'm thinking 84 pitches. I wouldn't be through the fourth inning if 80, 85, 90 pitches is the benchmark. Guys are having a much more difficult time hitting when it comes to special arms, because now it's not just a setup guy and a closer. You have 3 or 4 arms out of the pen that managers are eager to get to because you have a fresh arm throwing 98 miles an hour. So I think all of that compounding has made it more difficult for hitters.
Al Leiter, MLB Network, Yes Network, joining me here. So as we're entering the first half of the season's closure, who were the best teams in the American and National League? Could it be another Show Me State series like back in the day, Al?
That looks like right now that you have a nice choice right there. I think to me the American League is more muddled as far as a premier team. You just look at the American League East here, and it's going to be interesting. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, absolutely, you would have figured that the Red Sox, if there was something that they may have done, they might have been sellers. Now they're only 5.5 game back to the Yankees, and if they were to sweep, I mean, think about that. Less than 3 weeks ago, they were 10 plus back. It looked really miserable, and you have only 5.5 games separating the last place team to first place Yankees. Kansas City, overall, I think they have the least amount of flaws. I'm still not crazy about their rotation, but they make it up for stellar defense, a really potent offense, and an amazing bullpen. Houston, I keep thinking that the slipper's going to fall off. I think the Angels are surging. So to me, there's a lot more question marks in the American League, and I think it's going to be really interesting, especially the way the American League East plays out. There's no question. I think St. Louis is the premier team in the West, along with the Dodgers. Pittsburgh is very interesting. Their pitching has been a lot better. With Cole, Garrett Cole, and AJ Burnett making the first All-Star team. The Nationals, something tells me that they need something to spark them. I don't know what it is, but for them to only be a couple games up on the Mets, going to be interesting. But the premium teams, I think you got it. I mean, I know I'm long-winded here, but I think with St. Louis and Kansas City kind of being what would be viewed as the premier teams with the least amount of flaws.
Al Leiter joining me here. Let me. I got a minute left with you, Al. We were just talking about Ken Stabler with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle and his colorful nature in the locker room. Who was the most colorful teammate you ever came across in Major League Baseball in your time?
Turk Wendell. That's easy. Turk Wendell was a fun, kind of crazy, nutty guy. I would say I had a chance to rub elbows with, and I was a big Mets fan growing up. Tug McGraw, even though it was past his days of playing, he used to do several things for the Mets alumni, and boy, I would have loved to have played with him. He was a lot of fun. But yeah, the passing of the Snake.
Of the Snake, yeah. Al Leiter, thank you for calling in. Let's chat soon in the second half, okay?
Yeah, my pleasure, Rich. Take care.
You bet. That's Al Leiter of MLB Network and Yes Network.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.